Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Late Show. I am your host, Stephen Colbert, and the biggest story today is that the coronavirus refuses to stop being the biggest story every day. Thanks to Delta, pandemic numbers are as bad as they were back in March, and the Associated Press is not taking it well. Check out this headline: COVID-19 surge in the U.S. The summer of hope ends in gloom. Are you all right, AP? That headline could use some Zoloft with an Abilify chaser. Still not as bad as the New York Times, who went with, it. And struck a nerve. That struck a nerve. And the more the virus spreads, the more it mutates, which experts say could lead to a possible monster variant. And as we know, a monster variant could catch on in a flash and become a graveyard smash. This afternoon, President Biden gave a speech to outline his plan to curb the coronavirus. Please get us out of this. We've been in the pandemic so long, my sourdough starter just got its learner's permit. And as part of his plan, Biden also signed an executive order requiring all federal employees to be vaccinated without any option for regular testing as an alternative. Good.
Oh, yeah. Well, there
Good,
we go.
I say.
Just a jab.
Finally, the federal government has reached the high standard of audience for a comedy show. And vaccinated heroes. These are vaccinated heroes right here. And it's not just government workers. Biden also announced a new OSHA rule requiring that large employers must ensure workers are either fully vaccinated or tested weekly for COVID. You hear that, anti-vaxxers? OSHA is coming for you. We're finally, OSHA, you heard me. The tough guys at OSHA were finally treating the plague with the same seriousness as not being able to stand on the last rung of a stepladder. Apparently, if you put a foot up there, your head just shears right off or something. In his speech, Biden said that vaccinated America's patience was wearing thin with the unvaccinated, and it was time for them to step up and get their shots. And I say, hear, hear. Vaccine mandates have a proud patriotic history in this country. During a smallpox outbreak in 1777, George Washington required his troops to be immunized. And who can forget the immortal words of Paul Revere, one if by J&J, two if by Pfizer, the variants are coming, the variants are coming. I'm angry. I've had it.
Get on your horse.
Bucket. There is some lighter COVID news out there involving New Zealand Prime Minister and my personal Uber driver, Jacinda Ardern. So global leaders have heard pretty much every question you could think of about COVID-19. But this week, Ardern got a new one.
There's also an allegation of sexual relations between a patient and a visitor at Auckland Hospital. Would you say that is this a high-risk activity in the current climate?
They have sex at the Auckland Hospital? We have got to get socialized medicine in this country. You know, I like Jacinda's doing this. What? What's your question? You know your country is tiny when you can't have sex without the Prime Minister finding out about it. Someone had sex in the hospital. Oh no, was it David from Wellington? Because that sounds like David. The PM collected her thoughts and gave a very sensible response.
I would say generally, regardless of the COVID status, that kind of thing shouldn't generally be part of visiting hours, I would have thought.
Exactly. I agree. She's right on target. A hospital is no place for patients to have sex. It's a place for doctors to have sex. In the exam room, in the on-call room, in the supply closet, and in an ambulance in the middle of a storm. Of course, either Big fans. Fans of either sex or doctors, I'm not sure. Of course, not all Americans are vaccine deniers. Some are also election deniers. And the feds are still busy tracking down the January 6th insurrectionists. And I'll tell you all about it in tonight's Seditionist Roundup.
Man, you're so guilty.
First one strolling through the saloon doors of justice, a man named Russell James Peterson, who pleaded guilty after his mom bragged about his Capitol riot antics on Facebook. It's even more embarrassing than her bumper sticker, "My son is an honor student who wants to hang Mike Pence." Now, Russell's mom, Shelley, bragged that her son sat in Pelosi's chair. It's not much of a brag. "Oh, your son got into law school? Well, my son is presently learning a great deal about the law right now." Next up, in the roundup, we've got Roberto Minuta, a member of the white supremacist organization Oath Keepers, who snitched on himself to an FBI agent during a tattoo session. Never thought I'd say this, but someone made a regrettable choice at a tattoo parlor. This wasn't even, they caught him. He was already caught, or this was additional? This wasn't even a sting operation. Minuta is a tattoo artist, and he volunteered the information about his case during the 3.5 hours that the off-duty federal officer was getting tattooed. Even worse, his confession made it into the guy's ink. But Minuta's lawyer is trying to get the case thrown out, saying the agent should have disclosed his identity, and the conversation wasn't a cool way to get information out of her client. Now, that is a powerful legal argument. Reminds me of that classic courtroom scene from To Kill a Mockingbird.
"In the name of God." "Not cool, man."
Next, so good. Peck. He strikes you, he gets you.
Yeah, Atticus.
Every time, it gets me.
Atticus know how to do it. Get into it.
Next sad rodeo clown, Lonnie Leroy Kaufman, seen here telling the court artist, "Make me look like the mean grandpa in a kid's book about racism." Kaufman is set to plead guilty after being found near the Capitol on January 6th with a truck loaded with 11 homemade Molotov cocktail-type incendiary devices, a rifle, a shotgun, 2 9mm pistols, a .22 caliber pistol, a crossbow, several machetes, a stun gun, and smoking devices, and some nunchucks and a bear trap. Trap. Most dangerous of all might have been the jars full of gasoline and melted plastic foam to produce a dangerous napalm sticky flammable liquid, which is why he's also being sued for revealing the recipe for Jägermeister. In sports news, this is exciting. Men's football is back. Tonight was the NFL's big season opener. Let's check out the league's official promo for the matchup between All-Stars Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, and Ed Sheeran? Is this the NFL kickoff or a very special episode of F-Boy Island? The F stands for football. Turns out Ed Sheeran, a.k.a. Soft Rock Sam Gamgee, was the headliner for the NFL's kickoff concert, which is a bit of a weird collab. We haven't seen a pairing this strange since Susan Boyle headlined the Gathering of the Juggalos. Since Sheeran kicked off the football game in response, the NFL has agreed to join him on his tour. And is this true? I'm told we have a preview. Jim?
Hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my...
We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Sarah Paulson and Casey Musgraves. But when we come back...